live. Let me get set up on my YouTube. Hello. Thank you for joining me. Be Manifest 96. Welcome to my live on Third Eye Bell. Getting set up here. I'm on all my platforms tonight. I'm on YouTube. Welcome anybody that sees this later. Follow me, y'all, on my YouTube channel, Third Eye Bell. I've just started it up, and I'm going to see how this goes. I'm just going to flow with it. Thank you for joining me on my Instagram. I love y'all. Anybody that takes time to spend with me, if you see this now, you see this later, may it be beneficial to you. If you like it, I ask you to please hit the like button or share it with someone. And over on my Facebook, I thank you for joining me. Anyone that sees this now or later, this is my live book reading. I decided to do it tonight. I talked about it on, was I here on Tuesday? It's Suicide Prevention Month. So we're going to finish up the book Living Untethered. I had a really great discussion on a Tuesday about this. If you don't have this book, I highly recommend that you go and buy it. And if you don't want to read it because you just don't like to read or don't have the time, you can listen to my live reading of this on my Instagram at Third Eye Bell. I've been reading this book now for going on 8 months. I'm in on a busy street, and it's loud. Put the music on, but it's a lot of traffic out tonight, so please excuse me. I'm not one to do all the bells and whistles to go and do a bunch of setting up studio work and stuff. I just kind of free flow. So that's what I'm doing. Let me know if you can hear me. On my last video, I had a lot of echo. So hopefully you guys chime me in and let me know if I sound clear. I don't want to sound like an echo and have it really loud. And turn down my music. I send blessings to all. I'm going to finish setting up, sage my space. I'm going with the white candles tonight. I light 3 to try to balance my energy and give thanks as I call in the spirit guides and the ancestors. I am burning incense. I'm burning Nang Chakra so that I can keep the space clear of any negative energies that are flowing. And this is my offering to my God, to my spirit guides, giving thanks tonight. It's been a good day. I hope y'all have had a good day. Thank you for the love. Blessings, Dr. Williams. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a minute. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read. So I was talking about on Tuesday. It's Thursday. We're about to go into a half moon cycle. And the duality out there is really kicking in. Hello, hello. Thank you for the love. I'm always so grateful. I love those hearts and things like that. I'm burning a series of different herbs tonight, as I have been doing all month. Um, Everywhere from Palo Santo to rosemary. I've been just doing a whole smorgasbord because this energy that's floating along out here, we need help. We need a lot of help. And yes, prayer and meditation works, but smoke is used in practicing spirituality. And I keep it really simple. This is just an old candle that I dumped all my herbs in, and I'm burning it as I want to clear my space. Of course, you know, I have my cards. I am a witch, even though people don't like me to say that, but I am. So, of course, I'm going to have my cards with me at all time, and I will be pulling a couple as our introductory to back into Living Untethered starts again. And I'm not going to be doing my regular tarot as I'm doing these reads. I'm just using messages direct, calling in spirits to just give us answers, to give us a point, energy flow. When I have my tarot, which is right here, you know, I got to pull down, and I generally need to pull 3 to 5 cards and get a whole read on the cards. I'm not doing that right now. I'll jump back into that in time. Okay, I think I will. I did not read. I usually will do a pre-read of the chapter, but tonight I didn't. I had a really busy day, as we all do, and I said I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna take a nap just for 2 hours. When I woke up, I had been asleep for like 4 hours. So I said, okay, I guess my body said go ahead and rest, you know, and get it in. It's been a lot of changes. I know y'all have been going through change. It's been a lot of negative energy. It's been positive energy. We have the duality of it. But it seems that the negative energy has been just like diving deep in, just here constantly. We're constantly having to fight battles. We're constantly have to deal with bullshit of people. We're constantly like on the grind, you know, trying to level up. I'm here in California, and I would think at this time I would be able to like slow things down. No, it's sped up. You know, we have this economy that they're raising the prices on everything. And my heart goes out to the people that have to drive vehicles here in California. I have an electric car. I'm part of the Tesla family. And I'm always so grateful because this week, I think I spent maybe $15 on a full charge. And I'm now, just now, it's the end of the week. I have to go and charge tomorrow. But I really can go like another 60 miles if I chose to on $15. And they're just killing us with this gas. So these are things that are stressors, you know, the food prices. When we think about how much we're paying for food, you know, at least I'm by myself, you know, and I don't have a family. But imagine that you having to feed, you know, an entire family on the prices of meat if you're eating meat. And vegetables are just out of control. And it's just really crazy, you know. So we have stress. We have anxiety. We find ourselves, it's like some of us be wanting to check out. Like, I can't do this no more. It's too much. Where am I gonna be, you know, in the next 2 years with the way the economy is going. And talking about California alone, I'm gonna dive deep. Thank you for joining me, Neva. Blessings. Thank you for the love. You know, California is out of control. But what I'm feeling that's happening in California, I am a California native, California girl. I'm gonna always be. But I travel all over the country all the time. And I see the price differences. And I see the prices raising all over the country. But here in California, they're creating what I feel is going to be a monopoly. In a minute, you may need a passport to get into California because of the way that they're moving here. I live in Beverly Hills, and I'm watching the transformation of the train station that's going past Wilshire which is behind me, and that's going up in through to what we call the Crenshaw district. Yes, the haves and have nots. And that's what's going here. So it's going on here. So I'm always like, I'm grateful because I've been in this community a long time. I've been living in Los Angeles since the 80s, coming from Berkeley. So I'm a Northern California girl. And up there is just as bad. And San Francisco and Oakland is just ridiculous, the prices that are out there, the same here as in LA. So I see where California is crazy. But one thing is that I know from living here and being a native here in California, there are places and things you can do that you could still be comfortable. There are what I call the hidden gems. Welcome, Deontay Cobb. Blessings, blessings, King. Thank you for joining. The hidden gems, like for me, being in Beverly Hills, I'm like right on the border between what they call Beverly Hills and West LA. And on this border, you could see how all the Beverly Hill prices have now trickled through into LA. So they have, LA is like little pockets of situations, little pockets of living quarters, little groups of people. And I live in a Jewish community. So with me living in this Jewish community and them knowing me, I'm able to like, kind of maneuver. My rent is not so tremendous. Rent out here is like $4,000 for one bedroom. $5,000. I mean, $4,000 really is cheap, but the average price just in LA now for a one bedroom is $3,000. Over here where I live, it's now $4,000 and $5,000. So where the fuck do they think people gonna get all this money to do that? And then you're stuck having to roommate up, and now you're caught in situations where you're roommating up, possibly with someone that's not a match. And then now you're stressed even more because you don't have your space. I'm watching this go on constantly. People are renting out their houses out here now, renting out rooms here now, because it's so expensive. So how do we fight the stress? How do we make it happen? The one thing is that number one, your finances have to be handled differently. When you thought that you needed 5 credit cards, you really only need 2. Get rid of the others. And I'm not a financial advisor, so I always say consult a financial advisor. I'm not a counselor, though I am a counselor of life. I've been out here a long time. I'm not like a spring chicken out here. I'm a grown woman. I've been living in Los Angeles alone 40 years. No, 30, at 38, damn near 40 years. Hey, I've been on my own since the 80s. I'm a croon when it comes to spirituality. I can teach you a thing or two about life. I am educated. I'm educated in the streets, I'm educated in life, and I'm educated in books. So I'm not sharing information with you that's just coming off the top of my head about how to move out here. I'm sharing life experience. Hey, you can't get everything out of the book. Though, yes, I went to school, became an accountant. I studied that. I studied business. I've studied everything. You read and study marketing. I'm a professional muse. People hire me to help them to get to the next level, to get inspired, to get out of a hump that they were in. If they're in a financial bind, I can guide them into another direction to help them remove the stress, to find what they need to get out of their situation. I've been an executive assistant to many, which is also a muse, because without a manager or an executive assistant, you can't flow. So I'm sharing information from the streets and from book knowledge. Okay, we got to make a change, and the way that you make that change is learn thyself, learn to control your mind, because all is mental. It starts with the first law: all is mind. If you never read the Kabbalion, I recommend you read the Kabbalion so you can really learn how this system is put into place at a higher esoteric level. And you learn how to control you, then you learn how to control how you feel, and you learn how to disperse the energy out into the universe, into the world, so that things can shift and work in your favor. Words are spells. What you speak will come into existence. If you feel bad about yourself, if you feel angry all the time because you're always saying you don't like this and you don't like that, you can't move forward. You got to find the silver lining and find the light in every dark situation. Then it starts to shift. Even if you have, I'm going to stretch out. If you have $1, you're not broke. Using the word broke on yourself, you will break. You will break financially, you will break physically if you use the word broke when it comes to your finances. You will create a level of stress that you're going to always remain broke. So eliminate that word from your life. If you have $1, I'm a poker player. They always say if you have one chip and a chair, you can come up and you can win the game. And we're playing a game here, the game of life. It is chess. It is a gamble. It is about taking brick by brick, step by step. Because if you know and have faith and have hope, hope and faith never die. Blessings, Feather. Blessings. Thank you for joining me, Queen. Hope and faith never die. If you say, I'm ill, you're going to remain ill. Don't claim it. Don't claim being broke. Don't claim being ill, because there is always hope, and hope will always win. The light will always shine. There's always another second, another minute, another hour. In the big scheme of things, you may be trying to avoid death. None of us can avoid death. It's going to come at whatever time. So the point here, the God-given gift that we have, that I talked about in this book on Tuesday, is the gift of living your true authentic self, realizing and understanding that this is a shell that you are temporarily borrowing. This is a shell that you are living here on planet Earth to have an experience. But the true you is your soul self. Outside this shell, there is a spirit, an inner being that is full of love, full of light, that is here to have an experience. We chose these bodies. We chose our parents. We chose this life that we're living. So if we don't like it, we have the ability to change it. I look at all the fuckery that I do to myself all the time. It's a never-ending cycle. And then I have to step back and pedal back and say, wow, why did I do that to myself? What was ailing me that I did that to myself? My thing was always like men, getting with a dude, with a relationship, because of the trauma, which I talked about past traumas in this book. Go and check it out. The trauma that you experience created a low self-esteem about you. You know, you may have been neglected. You know, I didn't have a mother's love. So I was always like going through life trying to find love, not really knowing what love truly was. So I felt like any dude that was giving me their attention was giving me love. It didn't matter if he treated me foul or fucked up. It didn't matter if he was, you know, if I had to give him money. I didn't mind. I don't mind sharing money. You know, money comes easy to me. But what I found is that me spending a lifetime of doing that back and forth, that I was choosing an energy, a vibration of guys that they just were there because they knew I was going to give. They know that, you know, I'm loving and kind. But one thing that they knew is that no matter what, for me to keep them with my low self-esteem during at that time, that I was going to give. You know, I like being a woman. I like being subservient to my man. I have no anger. I love men. But the trauma that I put in throughout my life, it trickled. And now it took me all these years to figure it out. You know, to go through the depression, to go through the cycles of self-hate, to go through wanting to commit suicide several times, to go through having to be homeless because I wanted to get out of a crazy marriage. And that situation was, it was the opposite. I didn't have to give money. I had my own money, but he was the breadwinner, and I enjoyed that. I'm grateful to have been a stay-at-home mom at a point in my life. But then I still wanted death. I still wanted to die because once again, I had chose a partner that was able to demean me and make me feel like I was trapped because they knew I had low self-esteem. You know, so they controlled me. I was in a narcissistic relationship. You know, so it was flipped. I've experienced any and every type of relationship that could possibly happen. I chose a guy that beat me at a time. When I was in high school, I had a guy that used to beat my ass all the time. And I felt like, oh, well, I must deserve it. I must, you know, but in the tail end of things, me being the warrior that I am, I'm going to fight back. So there was always something inside me that knew deep inside that I got to fight. I got to fight to survive. I got to fight to get out of this shit. So I always have my spirit guides with me. Always the archangels watching my back, saying, okay, it's time for you to go. So I fight myself out of all the situations. Now I'm here to share these situations with you to know that it's okay to make a sacrifice, to get out of some fuckery that you are in that is holding you down. It's okay to cut off those people that have held you hostage, that always have something negative to say to keep you down. It's okay to walk away from that shit. It's okay to let the money go because money is going to come. It's energy. It's going to flow to you. All you got to do is know that it will be. Never say you're broke. Never say you're ill. You know, you can win. We can all win. You know, and when you work and find a collective, meditate and pray on finding people in your life that is going to build you up. Meditate and pray on having an energy drawn to you that is going to catapult you to where you want to go in your life's purpose. You don't have to love and be in love with everybody that fucks over you. It doesn't even matter if they're your family. Love them from a distance. Send love from a distance, but pull back. Even if it's for a week, start with a day. I'm not going to talk to anybody today. I'm going to just think about me and I'm going to love on me. I'm going to love on me. Start there one day. Then find yourself a weekend, one weekend. Even if you have children, find a way to get that time back to yourself. Though we have our children, I live now because of my children. That is the only reason that I did not commit suicide. Several times is because I thought about I can't leave my children. Okay? So we live because of the closest ones to us. But you still need a break at times. Hey, you got to get away. You got to love you. The first thought that you have in your mind is the correct thought in anything. You don't usually get a toxic thought or a negative thought unless there is an energy out there that is really not good for you. It all starts in here in the heart, and that's where we're reading and going to pick up on in Living Untethered tonight. Your heart is its own mind. You have your mind, you think about it, it then migrates and travels. But the heart feeling that you feel is the true feeling. Now, a lot of our hearts are broken or distorted. But one thing about it is that even if it's broken or distorted, the very first vibration is love. And that remains, that never goes away. Even if it's something that's toxic, your first thought would be like, I don't know about this person. I don't know about this situation. But that's your heart giving you the signal that, okay, let me beware. Then that comes back into your mind and be like, I don't know, you know, and then you move from there. But I go with my gut. They call it the gut. They call it the gut. I go with my gut feeling because sometimes in the end, your mind can distort it and change your heart vibration, and then you get confused or you end up making wrong choices. And me, I have this thing that I always want to like fix some shit, fix a motherfucker, fix something. I want to tinker around and like, okay, no, I'm going to ignore my true good feeling. I'm going to ignore it because I'm going to fix it. Some things you can fix, some things you can't fix. But just be aware of it and know that you're going to take a gamble and a risk when you roll the dice on something that you have a question about. Hey, I do it all the time. But now I'm in a space that I have decided, that I'm going to take this entire year and I'm focusing it on self. We only have a few months. 2023 is about to be over. So I'm really talking about 2024. It's going to be all about me. I'm not going to feel selfish of it being all about me. Of course, I'm going to be, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be helping others. But in the big scheme of things, the focus is on what is Jamila going to do? What is Third Eye Bell going to be doing to move forward? Whatever it is. And I recommend you do the same because 2024 is the grind. 24, that's 6 in numerology. That's you actively getting your thing going. 5 is the change. We're in a change now. Everything around us is shifting. 2023 is the change. And it's both good and bad. So 2024, be ready to work hard because you got to make it happen, especially in this economy. So let me go ahead and get started here so we won't be on here too long. Lighting my other 2 candles. We're giving thanks. And I'm going to open up with a message before I read this chapter. It's a short chapter. Chapter 25, Secrets of the Heart. Secrets of the Heart. Sharing it on all my platforms. So it's going to go fairly quickly. Like I said, I haven't read it, but I kind of skimmed through it. But what we're going to do is going to open up this reading session with a card. I always got to pull a card because I love having my spirit guides and the energies in the house, and I respect my ancestors that are here, the ones that only are for my betterment are invited, because we do have ancestors that like to be here to create chaos. You know, we have those ancestors that are angry. They left here angry. You know, particularly the ones that were enslaved. And if we invite them in and they attach onto us and attach onto the things around them, it's just going to create chaos. So be careful when you're calling on your ancestors. You know, don't just nilly-willy like, I'm calling my ancestors forth, because you don't know who you going to get. Hey, call your ancestors forth that are for your betterment, that are here to serve you at a higher purpose. You know, and that's something people don't talk about a whole lot. But I'm here to say that, you know, be aware of the energies that you call around you. All right. So I'm pulling from the Ascendant Master deck. I'm going to pull one card. So we're going to have two cards to start to welcome us into this reading. Our Ascendant Masters are those who have been with us in the past. It could be deities or it could be, you know, people. So let's see who's going to join us and what the message is. Wow. Okay. So we have a Ascendant Master, Hilarion. I've never worked with this Ascendant Master, but he comes here and he sends health and healing is the message tonight. Okay, and that is what this talk is about. It is about health and healing as we're going into this month that they recognize as Suicide Prevention Month. It's all about our health and how we heal ourselves. Okay, so I thank you for that card, Ascendant Master. And to open, I always go back into my ancients, go back into ancient Egypt. And we have the Sacred Symbol Oracle deck. And I'm going to pull one card, one symbol that we're going to open up with tonight. And see what these are our ancestors. What are they sending out tonight? Oh, nice. Okay, this is a nice card. This is a symbol for friendship. Okay, we want to make and generate friends in our life that are of positive energy, that are helping us to thrive and move forward in life. Friendship is important. You know, I always go through this thing where I was always feeling so alone. Do I have friends? I had to question it. And I do have friends. You know, just some that I have to love from a distance. But I have friends. And it's important to have a tribe around you. I consider you all friends. You know, find your tribe. Okay. All right, let's go. So we're reading in chapter 25, Secrets of the Heart, Living Untethered. I advise you once again to please order this book. If you do not like to read, download it on Audible. And if you just want to go backwards and read, these are sessions that I did on my Third Eye Bell Instagram. You can go back and look at chapters 1 through 24, which I've already read. So we're going to dive in deep and see what this author is talking about. This is Michael Singer. And just a recap, this author right here, when he wrote this book, he wrote two of them, which I'll probably read the second one too here. He learned and figured out that as we are these soul beings, here living a human experience, you live in the moment. Living in the moment means that you're not going to take everything on such a freaking personal level. Every experience that happens out there is not always about you. It's just an experience. It's just something that happens. So if you stop taking everything so personal, and tying it to your feeling of upset, disgust, being sad, all the things that are going to take you to a lower vibration, you can move forward in life easier. You can minimize your stress if you just look at the moment, take it in, see it for what it is. Even if you have to act on it, if you got to check somebody, he says that you're going to go about it in a way that's not going to take you down, that you got to check somebody. If you got to leave a situation or anything that happens in your life, know that it just has to happen. It just is. Now, bringing bad shit into your life, this is me talking. You can combat that, as I was saying before. But this author, the way he looks at it is that your glass is always going to be full, even when it feels like it's empty. So you take everything with a grain of salt and do not take it personal. And so he's teaching us in this book how to deal with shit on a different level. And it works. I've been utilizing this book since I had it. And it's been a year. And I could step back and look at shit different now because of this book. Okay, so it's very beneficial. It's psychology. It's not spirituality, though spirituality is encompassed in it because he goes back into God created us to live an experience. And it should be a godly experience, not a man-made entrapment experience. So let's go with the read. In chapter 25, The Secrets of the Heart, we are now ready to go deeper into the secrets of the heart. Oh, let me go back. Okay, I'm going to show you this picture in the 24 so you'll know what he's talking about. He's talking about blockages. See these tubes? These tubes are your heart. These are the blockages that are in your heart that happen to you through your trauma and experience. So where you want to get, this is you clearing your heart, clearing the heart, and this is your heart free flowing. The valve is clear. So what he was talking about in the last chapter as a recap was all the things that happen to you, you want to be flowing like a river that is running steady, a steady stream. A river that has rocks in it is going to be going in different directions because there's blockages. So you want to be able to clear those blockages. So now he's going into what is going on with these blockages, why these blockages are happening in the heart. So let's continue. He says, once again, we are now ready to go deep into the secrets of the heart. From our earlier explorations, we recognize that the energy can flow out of and while create a sensation of the heart. Let me read that again. I'm just now reading this with you. I had to think about that while I was reading. He says, from our earlier explorations, you recognize that the energy can flow out for a while and create the sensation of love. Okay. He then says, you also understand that since the opening of the heart is conditional upon the state of blockages, this is me talking, he's talking about those blockages of the past experiences, of the traumas that happened to you. The energy flow itself is conditionally and generally will not last. So what he's saying, and I can share a little bit because of the last chapters, that we find ourselves, we think that we're in love, something that we love. But the love won't last because we have these past blockages in our past traumas that we carried on into this relationship that we now feel like we're in love. Okay, let's keep going. He then says, yet it is possible to experience great love all the time. All it requires is a willingness to work on yourself to remove reasons your heart tends to close. For example, imagine somebody dies who means a great deal to you. Your spouse can't go to the funeral with you because of some important work. You may deeply resent that. In fact, if you're not careful, you may resent that for the rest of your life. Hey, think about that, folks. This is me talking. And this happens all the time where we resent somebody because they didn't do something at the time and place that we thought that they should be. Okay, so he's taking this to a direction. Let's see where he's going to go. You're playing with fire when you play with these blockages. You may lay the groundwork that will eventually diminish or even destroy your relationship with your significant other. This is not a game. Storing samskaras is very serious business. So let me explain to you, this is me talking, what a samskara is. A samskara is, I'll give it as an example, something that happened to you that was bad. And now you have an expectation on what something would be because of experience. It could be bad or good when you're thinking about samskaras. So what it is you setting up your ego, you setting up your will and will not. What things you will accept in your life, what things you will not accept because of your belief system. So a sanskara is just another term for your belief system, what you believe is right and wrong, and your feelings that you have behind it. Okay. So he's saying that storing up the sanskaras is serious business and it has serious consequences. If you want love to last, learn to handle these situations better. This is a secret of the heart that is best to remember. And so I'll read that again. He says, if you want love to last, learn to handle these situations better. Okay? It takes work. This is me speaking. He then goes on to say, another very important thing to understand about the outward flow of energy through the heart is that it is literally makes a connection with the other person. Thank you for the love. I love those hearts. They make me so happy. This is me talking. It's not in the book. So he says that this is me. The heart, your heart, which we know our hearts connect with other people and they feel our energy. Everything is the flow of energy. The energy that we disperse from our heart is spreads out onto someone else. Thank you for joining me, Candelaria, or anybody that's joining me or seeing this later. I thank you. If I touch one person and I can help one person, then I did my job here on planet Earth and I'm good. Okay, let's continue. He then goes to say, the connection is real. He's talking about the heart connection with other people. That's me. He then says, and you become attached as the energy is exchanged between you. This is not a physical attachment to one another. This is a reliance on the energy flowing between your hearts and the feeding you both have energetically. So everyone, I'm having a heart-to-heart connection with you all. And you all at this time, this is electronics, but this is real time. You're having a heart-to-heart connection with me as well. So our hearts are connecting to one another. And this is what he's talking about in dispersing energy. Anyone that sees this later, my heart will be connecting to you as the energy and the vibration seeps out as you watch me. Okay? So he's talking about energy and us as electric beings. He then says, let's look at this detail. Your heart was closed because stored patterns from your past were blocking the energy flow. Someone shows up whose qualities and characteristics hit you just because, or hit you just right. So the energy finds the path around one of your major blockages. I like that. Okay, I like that. So let's think about that for a minute because it happens all the time. When we meet someone, especially if you're talking about a relationship, which is what he's talking about right now, and you feel that pitter patter, you feel that vibration, that person at that particular time was able to penetrate and swing through one of those blockages because they touched you and they touched you energetically. Hey, Miha, I love you. Blessings, David Simmons. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Miha. I love you. So he's talking about how someone can really dive in. Yes, they dive in and they can rub you the right way. I'm going to talk about that a little later. We're going to keep reading in the book because that is something I wish I had time to kind of dive deep into, because there are some people that can master that and they can dive and they can rub you the right way. They're creators and masters of that, and they can touch your heart. He then says, the blockage is not gone, but a pathway has opened up, allowing the energy to flow out through the heart. That energy goes out towards the other person, and the other person's energy goes out towards you. With the help of another person, you have managed to experience what you would be experiencing if the original blockage was not there. Okay, so that's something to think about, which I am thinking about. Like I said, I'm reading this for the first time with you. I'm thinking about this and I'm saying to myself, this is true. If you can, if someone can come to you and they can have you have a vibration to make you feel for even a moment that you are healed and you can feel love, and they open up a blockage, you can do that for yourself. You can love on yourself in a way that you can open up these blockages. And that's what I am personally working on in myself. I'm no longer looking for a relationship. I'm looking for pure love of self. And that's why this particular sentence did hit me. If a person can do it to you, I could do it to myself. I like that. Okay, let's continue. He then says, perhaps you used to think people didn't like you. Thank you for the love. And that you were not very attractive. Someone shows up who also admires you and looks at you with tremendous love. It makes you feel so comfortable that you melt in their gaze. It's unbelievable. You don't feel that weirdness you used to feel all the time. That's something to think about, y'all. Think about that. You know, I know because I felt this way a million times. I would feel like, God, they don't like me. I always had this thing, people don't like me, but why they don't like me? I don't know. Because I'm different, I'm strange. And when you think about, and somebody comes along, and that was really my thing. They come along and they show me the attention, like, oh, I like you, da 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 da. And then here I am with that person that you don't know. So do that for yourself. We're talking about self-healing here. Let's continue to see what he says. He then says, though this is really beautiful, unfortunately, the samskaras that were blocking your energy flow is still there. The energy found a way around it, but only as long as the energy exchange with this person is still working. It's like putting a jumper in an electrical circuit. You bypass the samskara, and now you are very attached to and dependent on that person. Okay? I know this has to hit somebody. That's what we get. This is me talking. Codependency. Being codependent on someone. Okay? Because we're relying on that person to make us feel better. Okay? Okay, so then let's see what he then says. If they start to leave you, or if you even think about losing them, you will feel the original samskara again in all its glory. So what he's saying, those that are not familiar once again with the samskara, he's then saying, when you think about them leaving you, or you think about you leaving them, once again, you go back into your traumatic state, your fear of your depression, your anxiety, just thinking about that person leaving you. And that is the blockage that holds you hostage. This is me talking. Okay? So and that's why he says in this sentence, you then leave and you have that samskara, that trauma, once again coming full speed in all its glory. Okay? He then goes on to say, you will feel the underlying fear and weirdness you used to feel. And it may even be stronger than before. In other words, you've tied your energy flow to somebody else. He's explaining. He then goes and says, and the state of your heart is now dependent upon their behavior. Okay? Codependency is healthy in some circumstances. Thank you on my live. Yes, I'm in the middle of reading this book, and yes, we do need that in certain areas. But right now in this reading, he's talking about how this particular damage, whatever damage you have to yourself, whatever blockages you have in your heart, whatever experiences that you have are holding you back, you want to heal those while you're allowing someone else to be in your space, in your heart chakra space. So let's see what he then says. Okay. He then goes on to say, surely you have noticed this pattern numerous times in your life. This is called human love. Okay? So me personally, this is me speaking. Human love is beautiful. Even in its darkest state, it's still beautiful because we learn from each and every experience. So I'm never going to be here to say, don't experience human love. I'm merely sharing with you this book so that you can learn healthy love. Okay? All right. So then let's see what he says. He says, it is very beautiful, but fortunately, there is a much higher form of love that is unconditional and can last forever. All right? Let's see where he goes. He closes the paragraph there. And like I said, this for me, I'm tying this into Suicide Prevention Month because I want us all to think about self-love. And if we have a human interaction, human love towards one another is beautiful. But if it's going to take you down to a path that you're going to hurt and you don't want to be here, which I have been there before, where you just feel you don't want to live because you can't imagine not having that person in your life with you. That's not healthy love. Okay? So let's go in and see what he's talking about. He then says, the greatest secret of the heart is revealed when you get rid of the samskaras instead of finding a way around them. So, this is me speaking. What the author is saying here is that you want to try to work on the samskaras, try to work on the traumas that are holding you back, that are blocking your heart. Okay, that's making these I keep wanting to say adventures that are making these experiences, because to me everything is an adventure, to make these experiences of interacting with others outside yourself better for you. Okay, let's then see what he says. If you get rid of the blockages that are restricting the energy from flowing into and through your heart, you will feel love all the time. Okay, he's saying that. He then says, it will always be brimming through you. Once you reach that state, if you simply wave your hand in front of your heart, you will feel waves of ecstatic love, waving your hand in front of your heart, ecstatic love pouring through you. You know, so I always say take a minute. That's when you hug yourself. Feel love for yourself. Hug on yourself. Feel that wave. Feel that vibration. It's beautiful. And this is what he's saying that we want to try to do all the time for ourselves. Feel the wave of love within yourself. Okay? He then says, once you reach that state, oh, he did. I read that part. Okay. He now goes to say, that's how easy it will be to experience love. Will become the core of your being. It will be your experience of love. You will now be able to go and share it, he says. By all means, share the beautiful love you are feeling. You will be able to do this without attachment or need because your love is not dependent upon anyone or anything else. You are whole and complete within yourself. You call that self-effulgence. Yeah, he calls that self-effulgence, being whole and complete with yourself. Once again, self-effulgence. We'll put that in our vocabulary, okay? He then says, to reach this great state, you must do the necessary work on yourself to release your samskaras instead of constantly trying to find a way around them. He goes on and says, you now understand much more about the inner workings of the heart. Thus far, we focused on how the energy can flow through the lower part of the heart or be blocked from doing so. He then says, we can call this lower part of the heart the human heart because depending upon how open it is, the energy flow can create the entire range of human emotions. So that takes us back to where I was showing you guys the chart. Let me go back. Of the blockages in your heart and the flow. So he's referring back to that. We're almost finished with this chapter here. He then goes to say, we can call this lower part once again the human heart because depending upon how it is, the energy flow can create the entire range of human emotions. Energy blocked in the lower part of the heart can be experienced as feelings of jealousy, insecurity, or pangs of yearning. Even anger is a result of the strong energy flowing, hitting blockages in the heart and shooting out. He then goes on to say, on the other hand, if the heart is open enough for the energy to make it to the middle of the heart chakra, where it can flow out horizontally, the energy will then be experienced as human love. So let me go back to that page. That's this. Where is that? That's this one right here, is that he's talking about. This is the clearance. Okay, so that's what he's talking about. All right. Where did I stop? He then says, okay, on the other hand, if the heart is open enough for the energy to make it in the middle of the heart chakra, horizontally, human love. Okay. He then goes on to say, it's all the same energy doing this. The only difference is how it's blocked. He then goes on, and as we get ready to close, yeah, this is almost finished. This is another level of the heart that can be experienced when the upward energy flow is strong enough to pass through the middle of the heart without going out horizontally. The samskaras have to be thinned out enough. Oh, and the flow, I had to think about that. Okay, so let me share, let me chime in on that again. He was saying, so the shamskaras have to be thinned out enough. That means that we have to do enough inner healing and enough inner work, is what he's saying, on ourselves to kind of thin out that thick layer. Like when you say your heart is blocked, or you're not going to even accept love, thinning out that layer, so to speak. He then says, and the flow must be strong enough to pierce the middle section of the heart chakra. So we have to clear out the trauma and the damage that is done to our heart so that it can pierce and push a hole through the heart chakra. Now, in me, what I call that is finding the light. That's when you see that little speck of light in the darkness, and you're able to just kind of climb through and wiggle through that little speckle of light. That is the same as piercing the heart chakra. Okay? So then let me continue. He then says, when this happens, the energy pours into the higher part of the heart and generates a permanent experience of pure love, strength, and overall well-being. Okay? He goes on and says, now we've moved out of the human heart and into what is truly the spiritual heart. I'll say that again. You move into the spiritual heart once you have pierced through the heart chakra, the middle of it. Yes, that is the spiritual heart. Thank you for the love. He then says, when the Shakti, that's what chakras they talk about in the chakras. I went over that in some of my earlier readings and on my lives. When the Shakti flows through that higher part of the fourth chakra, okay, now, okay, this is me talking. It's the fourth chakra, but four in numerology and in tarot is stability. Now, everything flows, everything is energy. So when it's the fourth, that is stable, stabilized, stability. So remember that when you're thinking about fours, is stability. So he's talking about the fourth chakra, which is stability. So let me read back on here. He then says, you will start to feel what has been described as the presence of God. Okay. So when you penetrate the fourth chakra, I don't know if anyone, this is me talking. I've felt Holy Spirit a few times in my life. Particularly when I'm in a spiritual place and I'm praying really hard, sending out those vibrations of love and energy to my God, to my Creator, or if I'm in pure distress of God, please touch me, heal my soul, help the pain stop. Once your heart has dispersed, and I have experienced this is why I know, has dispersed pure love towards God and the knowing of God that are help out there, whatever you consider God, hope, help. The feeling and the calmness that you get, that you feel after that, and the relief, that is what he is talking about in describing the feeling of presence of God. Even those that do not believe there is a quote unquote God, you still are going to feel that presence of God, because God is love, period. And if you can get that heart chakra penetrated and you feel that presence, as he says, that is described as the presence of God. And this is not a spiritual book. This is a psychology book that has spiritual undertones. Okay. Okay, so then here we go. He then says, this is what the great saints experienced. At that point, you no longer experience yourself as human. You experience yourself as a being of energy. You will start to feel, you will start to feel love as a natural force in the universe. This is no longer love for somebody. It is just the force of love feeding you from the inside. Okay? He then says, once you open your heart to that level, it will always be beautiful inside, as long as you choose to focus your awareness on the love instead of what is left of your lower self. Okay, this is what the author recommends you do. As I get ready to close this out, let's see what he's saying here. We now know what it means to open your heart. At every level, it means to stop closing it. He's saying, your heart's natural state is open. I'm going to touch on that real quick. This is me speaking. When we're born, and the love I'm feeling is almost about to bring me tears, because when we're born, our heart is pure. Our heart is open. It's so much love. You know, we have the love of our birth mother who birthed us. At that time and that moment, once we arrive here on planet Earth, is pure love. And our heart is open and pure. It is not till later that the samskars kick in and we start to fill it up with the lower heart stuff. But at birth, it's pure. And if you could try to imagine yourself, these are things and I'm doing it right now as we speak. Imagine yourself, at your birth. Go back into your childlike self, that pure love of being accepted and giving, you're breathing, your mother, your God, all the love that's around you. Go back and think about that. That's your heart's natural state. If I had to give an example of that, that's my example. Okay, so let's continue to close out. He then says, it's just like the water in a stream. Its natural state is to flow freely. If sometimes blocking the stream doesn't waste your... okay, I'm sorry. He then says, if there's something blocking the stream, don't waste your time trying to make the water flow around the blockages. Just remove it. Okay, I'm still stuck in the heart zone. So let me jump back into what he's saying right here. In the book, he talks about the stream, how it flows, as I mentioned before, and how a stream is flowing steady. It's a steady stream. We throw some petals in the stream, but now the stream is going different directions. So he's saying when something happens to you in life, throughout your day, or just in general, all the time, you starting your day really good. It's flowing a steady stream. You got up, you ready to go, you on the move. that somebody throws a fucking pebble in the way and puts a bump in that stream. So now you got a rock. He's saying, move around and flow around that rock, is what he's explaining. Just remove it. Kick it out the way. Like, bye. Okay, so then he's closing with this. He says the same is true of the flow of chakra through the heart. Just remove the blockages and love will be your natural state. He then says, removing blockages is spiritual, purification. I'm having trouble with my heart chakra. Let me drink some water. I think this and did something to me. Like I said, I didn't read this prior, so I'm feeling emotion while I'm reading it. And I have blockages. I know I have a blockage in my chakra and I have a blockage in my heart. So I'm, working on clearing that space. So anything may come up. You may start coughing, fluid, inflammation. Those are the physical signs of things that can happen to you as you're purging and clearing your heart. Okay? So don't be surprised if you do get sick when you're clearing some shit. He said, just remove the blockages and love will be your natural state. Okay, clearing blockages is a spiritual purification. This is what life is all about. As you remove your blockages, the energy will start to flow freely, and love will no longer be something you need or something you look for. At this stage, love has nothing to do with another person or what job you happen to be doing. You feel love and inspiration all the time. You find that the natural state of your being is to love everything you do and everyone you see. You actually have to hold yourself back to contain your passion for life because there is such a powerful flow of energy feeding you from within. He's saying this is what you're going to feel when you clear these blockages. He then is closing to say, this is the state Christ was describing when he said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Okay? And if you need to read that for yourself, it's in Matthew 4:4. Okay? He then wants to close with this. You no longer live solely off what is coming from outside. Your energy is becoming from within effortlessly from its source. And I'm jumping back up before I close his last sentence here. When he talks about, and he did this a couple of times in this book, and it's like I said, it's not a spiritual book, but he explains at different times, how Christ has quotes and has guidance to help us through certain situations. So when people talk about the Bible is a powerful book. It is a powerful tool to use if you utilize it in a way that is for your betterment. It is not to be used to hold or badger people. It is not to be used to have a control over people. They're using it wrong. It is not a book based on fear. It is not written for that. So I have to share that with you. And I like that sometimes he'll throw scriptures in here because there are people that are solely into Bible scriptures. Go back and reread and research yourself, and you'll find the truth about what your scripture is saying, as he is finding his truth in this when he's talking about, working with the heart, having the passion for life. That's what this is all about, by not just living on bread alone, finding your passion, finding your truth, finding what love is for yourself. is what that scripture is about. Okay. He then closes this chapter by saying this: your heart is one of the most beautiful things in creation. In time, if you work on yourself, you will come to appreciate what you've been given. Not only can your heart feed you with unconditional love, but it is the gateway to the higher centers. Okay? The higher centers, which is the higher self, your God self. Okay? And that is how he closes chapter 25. Okay? Y'all let me know what you think. And once again, go and get this book. Thank you for joining me with Balance. Let me know what you thought about this chapter. I hope it was beneficial to you. It's definitely beneficial to me. If you liked it, please like. If it's somebody that needs to hear this chapter, share it with them. Like I said, this is Suicide Prevention Month. But I keep saying suicide prevention is not a month. For people like myself and others, this everyday struggle that you have to fight to want to be here on planet Earth. Blessings, Sam. I love you. Blessings. Okay, share love. This is a sharing of love. Share truth, share light. Share your experience. So next week, I may even read more. I may just continue I really kind of want to finish this book before the end of the month. So I may come in and even read this tomorrow or this weekend. We're going in, because we're almost finished with the book. It's going into the human predicament and beyond. So he's about to dive deep into this next chapter, okay? This is it's gonna be good, you know. I love this book. And once again, I thank you all for spending time with me. I'm always grateful for anyone that shares time with me. And I'm going to just close this. And I thank anyone that's on YouTube that sees this. I am Third Eye Bell. Welcome to my platform. Please like and subscribe. Y'all follow me on YouTube. It's Third Eye Bell. I think it's 412 is what I'm under. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. And once again, follow me here on Facebook. Follow me here on the Instagram. All right, let's close this up with a message from our Ascended Masters. Who is going to close this with us? Let's see. Once again, we're closing with yoga. Babaji. This is Ascended Master Babaji. And yoga is simply this. You know, people think that you got to be up, the stretching, this and that. Yoga could simply just be waking up and breathing. That is yoga. Just breathing. Yoga is all about breath. You don't have to do all the stretches if you don't want to. It's good to stretch, but you don't have to. It's about meditation, is yoga. So that's how we're going to close this. And with our ancients, let's see what message are we getting from our ancients to close out with. What symbol do you want to carry with you? And then take pictures of these symbols and hold these symbols. Let's see what messages are nice. Okay, our closing messages here. Magic. You are magic. Work your magic. This is a symbol of magic. It is nothing dark, nothing specific. It just says you are light beings. We are energy. We are light workers, all of us. So go out. Do your shit. Be magical. All right. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you. Peace. Good night.